Hello everyone, a very good evening to each one of you. The series of learning from life, we have a very smart young lady in front of us who's a clinical psychologist and working in this field for the last almost 5 years. And we'll talk to Ms. Shalmali Gadgil. Uh, uh,
Hello.
uh, take her insight here as to how she got into the field of clinical psychology and what all is she doing as part of her job. Hi, Shalmali. Welcome to our show. How are you?
Hello. Thank you.
So, Shalmali, can you just tell our audience something about yourself?
So basically, I am a clinical psychologist and an art-based therapy practitioner. And I got into this entire profession of helping about 5 years ago or so. Um, and ever since then, it's just been a passion for me.
Okay. So that's very nice. And Shalmali, can you just tell our audience as to what exactly are you doing as part of your work in the field of clinical psychology?
So I work with a rehabilitation and a mental well-being center called as Wisdom Matters. It's located here in Pune itself. And they themselves have been in this profession for more than a decade now. So basically, it's like a inpatient facility, if you want to call it in a crude way. It's a patient care center where individuals who have mild, medium to severe symptoms of mental distress or emotional distress, they are, how you say, they get a residential treatment. So
Okay.
in this treatment facility, along with the stay, what happens is that because they are in a induced environment, you could say they're away from the outside stressors, or you're able to control the kind of triggers that might affect them. So because they are in the facility, you get to holistically observe them, that what could possibly be the reasons for their emotional distress, or what could be the causes, and what are their possible strengths, their possible weaknesses, if you want to call it, and how do you use these strengths to help the person flourish or reach their full potential. So we do this in the mental health care facility in a residential pattern, because what happens is that for one single individual, multiple people come together. For example, a psychiatrist would be a part of it for the pharmacological part, or a psychologist, a clinical psychologist would be a part of it. Then there'll be the medical medical officer. Then there will also be a nurse practitioner. There will be a family therapist, and there will be a, so we also have a graphologist as such. Because so many people are a part of one person's recovery, it becomes very beneficial for the person himself as well as the family.
Okay.
Um,
So,
that's part of what we do.
in your rehabilitation center, how many people are working with you?
Um, could you please repeat the question?
How many persons are working with you in your rehabilitation center?
So we're a staff of about 10 people, in-house staff. Along with that, we also accommodate multiple interns from different colleges as well as different settings, so that we can also train them to become better professionals or
Okay.
as such.
And how long have you been working with this center?
I've been working with them for about 4.5 to 5 years. I also started off as an intern at first, because the most important thing is learning before practicing. And then eventually I started getting a part of the system, you could say.
Can you just tell us about this internship program that you have to do before you start working in the center?
Okay. I started off when I was in my second year of bachelor's, and so basically, when you're in the college, you get a lot of opportunities from different centers or different rehabilitation centers or psychiatrists as such for internships. But I wasn't really interested, or didn't find the most of them very appealing, you could say, because usually what happens when it comes to a psychiatric internship is they expect you to just observe the client, or they expect you to just sit in a corner and be able to observe a session with some senior psychiatrist or as such, which in itself is a very good learning opportunity. But it didn't move beyond that, is what I found. So at one point I got introduced to these people that have Wisdom Matters, which are now called. And what they offered as a part of internship was, along with observing the client or along with understanding the client's psyche, what they also offered was you could interact with the client themselves. You could, because they would train you.
Yeah.
In the beginning, they would train you with certain theoretical knowledge, followed by which you get to actually implement this knowledge with the clients there. So they were allowing you to genuinely, practically experience the learnings that you were getting, which was an amazing opportunity as an experience for me. So with practically applying what I was learning, I understood my own faults, I understood where I could improve, I understood the clients or mental health in very much detail. I could understand the finer nuances, which I believed only theory would not have led me to that understanding. So that was, for me, that internship was really amazing. So ever since then, I decided practice is the way to learn. So I kept on practicing with them ever since.
So how many people have undergone this therapy or the rehabilitation process at your center since you started working there?
How could you please? I'm sorry, there's a little bit of a. Could you please repeat?
How many people have undergone this rehabilitation process at the center where you are working since you started working here?
As in, how many people have gone through treatment?
Yeah.
Okay. Ever since I have been there, I think I have seen or interacted with around about 200 or so patients.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And can you just tell us a little bit about what kind of people have been coming to your center for rehabilitation? What kind of special cases, I would say?
So, as I mentioned, the participants, as we like to call them, who come there range from mild symptoms to medium symptoms to severe symptoms as well. So there are people who have tried to commit suicide multiple times. There are people who have been extremely aggressive. They have tried to harm the staff members as well. Then there are people who have had extensive hallucinations. As such, they are Jesus, or they are Katrina Kaif's boyfriend, or such type of delusions and hallucinations. On top of that, we also have had then people with moderate symptoms or mild symptoms, people who are usually aware of their emotional distress, so they voluntarily come for help. So the range differs in that case.
Okay. And can you tell us something about your center head who started the concept of the rehabilitation center?
Okay. The rehabilitation center, it was co-founded by Indrajit Deshmukh, and he himself has and because of his experience and because of his recovery journey, he decided he would rather like to help more people recover, and that's why he started this entire idea of establishing a rehabilitation center or a mental well-being center in general. And along with that, he also started various training programs for young professionals or young psychologists who would like to become efficient in their work.
Okay. And I understand in addition to the rehabilitation center, you people are also conducting various other workshop also for improving the mental well-being of the people. Can you tell us something about that also?
Yes. So along with so what we have started at Wisdom Matters itself is we invite certain subject matter experts to come in and give at least a 1 hour lecture, including question answer sessions, so that the interns or even the medical team there could benefit from listening to different perspectives, or let's say certain concepts about Western psychology, certain concepts about Indian psychology or Indian theories of mind. Because getting perspective from different points of view usually helps a lot, or helps you become much efficient in your work. And similarly, we are also associated with another organization called as Vajradhatu.
Okay.
It is how you call a retreat center or a meditation center, if you want to call it, but we have named it as a center for study of Indian mind traditions.
Okay.
So basically, it's a large space, as well as a residential space, where we invite various monks or trainers or teachers from different philosophical views, such as certain Buddhist school teachers, or certain teachers from a Western philosophical perspective, to come and kind of, how you say, I don't want to say sessions, but to come and give an entire idea about what their philosophy is, in introduction, or even um, like a just to sow a seed so that the plant grows in others' mind.
Okay. And in
It's a platform for different individuals to come and give training or spread knowledge.
okay. So Shalmali, in addition to that, I also am aware that you people are working towards propagating the importance of mental well-being, and also the kind of attention which is required, and especially in the present circumstances and post COVID-19. So can you tell us something about that? The importance of mental well-being and to stay healthy mentally and to cope up with the kind of stresses which one is facing in the present time, especially because of the pandemic.
So currently we launched a very small, how you say, a small project on our Instagram, which was giving away very simple tips or tricks to ease your mind, or very simple tricks towards mental or emotional boost. But this was just a little bit something you could do at home, because some people, what they search for are just quick fixes.
Yeah.
Because usually when you are in distress, what you do is you go on internet and you try to search, how do I get better, how do I get better. So if we are able to reach such audience, and they find that even these small tips or tricks are able to help them in distress, they might go towards a much holistic or a comprehensive treatment after all. If they're able to find our certain tips helpful, they might search for a comprehensive help. So this was one of our projects, to reach individuals or young individuals who just want a quick fix. But eventually what we decided was, at the end of each video, at the end of each quick tip, we would also recommend them to go and get professional help, or go and seek or call someone who might give them a much genuine help.
Okay.
So hopefully that could reach the young crowd as such.
You also
Because
mentioned
currently people want everything from home. So
about graphology. Can you just tell us about how does graphology help you in your profession, or people?
okay, honestly speaking, I'm not a very big expert on graphology. I've only observed graphology happen from the expert's hand herself. So I'll just tell you a little bit about it, but I would also recommend that you research about it later as well. So the little bit I have understood about it is, the way a person writes, or the kind of patterns, or the kind of strokes, or the kind of movement your hand makes, is direct is mirroring the kind of mental pattern you have. There are researches backing this as well. That's why I could tell that. So basically, at the center, what we do is we use signature analysis or handwriting analysis or drawing analysis as a part of diagnostic tool, along with other tools as well. It is one of the diagnostic tools that we use. After the analysis of the signature or analysis of the handwriting, we are able to get an extensive report or what could be the possible thought patterns or belief patterns that are restricting the client to reach their full potential. And then we also collect data from other mediums such as the family, such as the clinical psychologists, such as other psychometric tests, and then formulate an entire profile or a psychological profile of the client, which is very helpful in creating a treatment plan.
Okay.
So that way we have tried to include graphology in the therapeutic structure at the center.
So, I also happened to attend one workshop on art-based therapy, which was conducted by in Vajradhatu. Can you tell us something about art-based therapy? How does that help in your profession?
So arts-based therapy is mostly it uses different modalities such as music therapy or drama therapy or how you say rhythm. It uses rhythms as well, a dance therapy, movement therapy. All of these different mediums are used to tackle very particular therapeutic goals such as emotion regulation or impulse control or how do you say this? Even discipline or consistency. So art-based therapy can be used to develop certain skills in your clients or develop certain or improve a person's capacity to flourish as an individual or yeah.
Thank you, Shalmali. It was very interesting interacting with you. And
Thank you very much for inviting me.
And Shalmali, what would be your advice to the current generation to maintain good mental health, because it has become very, very important in the present environment?
Yeah. I would suggest don't be afraid. It might seem too much to speak up about it. There are a lot of mediums to reach out for help. If you don't want to call a therapist because you might feel ashamed, if you don't want to go to a therapist because you might think that it is too much, there are different mediums to reach that as well. You can just even go for a support group if that helps you out. If it just helps you out to be in a community and just talk out about it, that is also good enough. If you want to just talk to a friend about it, that is also good enough. Or if you want to just call a mental health care helpline, that is also good enough. You have to start somewhere. Don't be afraid to take the leap, because once you take the leap, you realize it genuinely, I was just worried about nothing. So don't be afraid to take that one leap ahead. I'm definitely sure it would be worth it.
Okay. Thank you, Shalmali. Thanks, Sitan, and wish you all the very best. Can you just, as a parting question, what are your future plans as far as profession is concerned?
As far as the profession is concerned, I do plan to actually study up or get more education in terms of hypnotherapy as well as NLP. I have a foundation with it, but I would like to pursue it even more. And on top of that, I plan to keep working in the organization that I am, because I believe or have experienced that it has genuinely helped me help more people or understand people's health or help them become better individuals. So it feels nice myself. And I've also noticed that my own mental health has become better.
Wow, that's very nice. Thank you, and Shalmali. It was great interacting with you, and we look forward to have some more sessions.
Oh yes, definitely.
that we can further increase the knowledge of the and also let them understand the importance of mental well-being.
Mhm.
Thank you, Shalini.
It's
Thank you.
the need of time.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Goodbye.